Almonte's Key Food, proudly serving communities throughout Brooklyn, Queens, and Long Island for over 30 years. When you shop Key Food, you'll always find fresh products, great weekly specials, and exceptional personalized service. Visit at any of their Key Food stores at 8235 153rd Avenue, Lindenwood, New York, 935 Rosedale Road, Valley Stream, New York, and 6620 Avenue U, Brooklyn, New York.
This is going to be an extremely busy month. I have to watch 104 soccer games, follow the pregame, the postgame, yell useless opinions at the TV. It's a lot. So I knew that when it comes to screening for colon cancer, the choice was clear. The Cologuard Plus test. It can be used at home and can only take 15 minutes, so I can do it during halftime and not miss any action. If you are 45 or older and at average risk, ask your healthcare provider about screening for colon cancer with the Cologuard test. You can also request a prescription at Cologuard.com.
The Dominic Carter Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network. Now, from New York City to the world, it's Dominic Carter.
And the number to reach us this hour, 800-848-9222. Dominic Carter here with you. Hope your new day is off to a good start. The World Cup, it's certainly off to a good start for the World Cup U.S. team. The men's team won tonight for the United States, making it to the round of only 16 teams left. And they will play again on Monday night. So only 16 teams left. The U.S. is one that is still standing. Socialism is currently, as we speak, not working in places like on one side of the country, Seattle, Washington, to the other, New York City. Los Angeles, too, could elect a card-carrying DSA member as its next mayor. D.C., other places as well. Socialists are winning in deep blue areas. I ask you, what's next? Swing states? We'll get to this in just a moment. And, of course, still focusing on Denver.
Another Democratic Socialist has claimed a victory in a primary race. 29-year-old Maylot Quiros defeated longtime incumbent Diana DeGetti in the race for Colorado's 1st congressional district. DeGetti joins a list of several other incumbents who have lost races to progressive Democrats during the primaries. Quiros will now face Republican nominee Christy Peterson for the general election in November.
Could socialists spread next to swing states? It's not as far-fetched as it sounds. 800-848-9222. Why do I say that? They energize their vote. In many of these cases, the turnout was low. But if they energize their vote, and they do, selling $1 in a dream and absolutely nothing else, and people turn out in large numbers, their supporters, it could be the margin of victory. So I'm coming back to that in just 1 second. And I really want to hear from you folks this morning. How do we get out of this mess? But another mess happened to be the Supreme Court ruling that came down on birthright citizenship. It should have gone the way President Trump wanted. It should have gone the way that I know you and I feel, that you can't just come here, drop your baby, and that baby born here is an American citizen. It's just not right. We don't have enough resources for the entire world to continue taking advantage of America. President Trump reacting. And here's the good news, indicating, as I've said before, he's always playing chess, not checkers, that there may be another path to get this done.
We'll take care of the birthright citizenship because that was not meant for rich people from other countries. That was meant for, actually, it was meant for the babies of slaves. If you look at it, it was a month after the Civil War ended that it went through. That's because it was meant for the babies of slaves. It wasn't meant for rich people from China. It was, they came over in Gulf Streams. It was meant for the babies of slaves. So I believe, no, I know they got it wrong, but that's okay because they gave us something that nobody thought. But they also gave us something in one of the sessions a year ago was called merit. Our country now is based again on merit.
And so we'll see what the president actually has in mind in terms of getting this problem taken care of. 800-848-9222. We're about to begin with your calls in just a moment or so. Milagros Quiros. We've all heard the name, the woman that won, came out of nowhere, anti-Israel, socialist, was fired from her job for comments she made against Israel, and now she's going to be promoted to the United States Congress. It's dead wrong. And already, what is she declaring? That she will not vote for Hakeem Jeffries if Democrats get control. They're not going to, but if they do, she's already declaring she's going to be a maverick. She will not support Hakeem Jeffries as Speaker. What leaves me greatly confused is what Democrats are doing these days, right? You would think with the young lady's mother that testified that the governor of Illinois, Pritzker, would go somewhere and put his head in the sand and be embarrassed in terms of what happened in his state. What does Pritzker do instead? Pritzker declaring that he's almost proud of these socialist wins because it's going to help Democrats. In his words, he is embracing what is happening.
Your party is in a bit of a moment right now following some elections here in New York. 3 candidates who identify as Democratic Socialists won their primary campaigns, several of them to oust the more moderate establishment members of Congress in their races. Do you think that's good? Are their victories good for your party?
I think what's good is that there are Democrats who are standing up and fighting, that there are Democrats who are standing up and talking about and doing something about addressing the high cost of things. Affordability is an issue that everybody is feeling all across the country. And any Democrat that is standing up and speaking out about that, coming up with solutions for that, and importantly, doing it in a manner that is focused on fighting what Donald Trump is trying to do to raise prices on people, I think those are the people who are winning. So I'm not suggesting that I had one candidate or another in any of these races. I'm just suggesting that that is the recipe for winning in 2026 and I think beyond.
Utterly disgusting. A sitting governor stating something like that. Hey, as long as we win, it doesn't matter. Essentially, that is what he said. 800-848-9222. Let's begin with your telephone calls. Line 1, Frank in Maine. Good morning, Frank. What's going on?
Oh, good morning, Dominic. Always a pleasure. Haven't talked to you in a while. I had the mispleasure of talking to Senate candidate Grand Plattner, and you don't
really?
talk to him. You talk, yes. He came around my street, actually, with an entourage of about 20 people, and you don't talk to him directly. You talk to his people, because he doesn't know anything about the state of Maine. He doesn't know anything about the economics of Maine. He doesn't know anything about the resources that Maine has, and he is inept. But nevertheless, his people are very, very into the socialist actions, calling for a 25 to 30% tax hike on all businesses, plus a $25 minimum wage. And when we as fathers went against it, we were told that we're too MAGA.
Right.
Yeah. So at the end result of this, Dominic, is I hope this man does not get in, but if he does, me and my wife, she's my wife now, is going to go, we're going to sell our house on short sale, and we're going to go to New Hampshire.
Wow. So you're willing to sell your home short sale to leave, to get out?
Correct. Between my son, and you know about that situation with the transgender.
I was going to ask you about your son. He's about, 15 now? 15, 16?
He's going to be 16 in January.
Okay.
And he is mid high school, but we have discussed it as a family that as far as if this man does get in, this Grand Platinum does get in, I have a feeling that Maine is lost. And I see it happening in Portland. I see it happening in my town. I see it happening in Augusta. And those are the three biggest cities here. And it's going downhill quick. Businesses are actually moving out. We have a place called, we have a place in Maine that has outlets. And the outlets are located in Kennebunkport and Kennebunk. And they're moving. They're leaving. They're actually, that outlet center used to be full of people. Now it's a ghost town. And it's because of that governor, the governor that's in now, and this guy who wants to come in, and Susan Collins, who just doesn't care. So, there's no alternatives.
Wow. Well, I wish you well, Frank, and I really hope that things work out for you. I know you're in education and so on. Thank you for the telephone call. Dominic Carter here with you, folks. We see all your calls. We're going to get to as many as humanly possible. Let's go to line 4. And let me just say this, folks. If you were on the air and the last show, there's no point in calling back. Line 3 was on the air in the last show, and I'm not going to take your call. It's not fair to the other callers. Pamela, line 4 in New Jersey. What's on your mind, Pamela?
The only good thing about this is these white butt kisser politicians like Newsom and Pritzker are going to be pushed right out by these communists that they're flattering so much. So I'll be watching for that, and I'll laugh at them because they don't realize they're not going to have a place in this new world.
Right. They think that somehow backdoor route, there's a benefit to them. Anything to stop Trump, even if it means electing poison in America. Anything to stop Trump. Anything. It doesn't matter the merits. Just get it done. And you're right, Pamela. So at the end of the day, how does all of this play out?
Well, it's unfortunate what's happening. We should have made it a law a long time ago, and we have to stop calling them socialists. They are full-out communists. Full-out communists.
Well, you're entitled to say that, Pamela. I have to call it for the title that they call themselves. I can't.
No.
I can't. I respect what you're saying, but from a journalism point of view, I cannot do that. But go ahead. You have the final say.
Well, if people had called it, in the past when communists took over, we've got to call it what it is. It is what it is.
Okay,
and
I understand. I disagree with you. But thank you, Pamela, for the wonderful telephone call. It is time for a break, folks. We are coming right back.
The Dominic Carter Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
The Marine Toys for Tots foster care program is bringing hope to children who need it most. Every 2 minutes, a child enters foster care, often with only a small bag of belongings. More than 400,000 children face trauma and uncertainty, many before age 8. This May, during Foster Care Awareness Month, Toys for Tots is creating Room for Joy. In 2025, nearly 375,000 children received comfort through toys, books, and essentials, reminding them they are not alone. Donate now and change a child's life.
Welcome to a new era of baseball's great spectacle, the T-Mobile Home Run Derby, live on Netflix. The biggest sluggers in baseball put their talents to the test on All-Star Weekend. Raw power meets star power. Big swagger meets bigger slams. And you don't swing to make contact. You swing to make history. Watch the T-Mobile Home Run Derby live on Netflix, Monday, July 13th at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific.
Need a laptop that's built to perform and designed to last all day? Select Windows 11 PCs starting at $499.99 are now at Best Buy. Learn more at bestbuy.com. Best Buy. Imagine that.
Want to elevate your travel experience? Here's how. With a Delta SkyMiles Reserve American Express card, you can relax before your flight in the Delta Sky Club with up to 15 visits per medallion year. And now through July 15th, 2026, you can earn up to 125,000 bonus miles, so you're closer to your next adventure. The Delta SkyMiles Reserve card. Check out the new design at www.delta.com/Spotify. Minimum spending requirements and terms apply.
Now, from New York City to the world, it's Dominic Carter.
And back to the phones we go. 800-848-9222. Let's go to line 3. Jay in New Jersey. Good morning, Jay. What's going on?
Yeah, hey, Dominic, good morning. I believe I heard somebody just say that he's going to leave Maine if Plantner gets in. Isn't that right?
Yes.
Yeah, I disagree because I don't think that Plantner will make a difference, a practical difference in the short run in Maine. It's not an executive position. It's purely federal, and I don't think that it's going to really make a difference to Maine people,
Okay, so, Jay, we have to choose our words carefully. So you're saying you're okay with somebody like that going to the United States Senate? Is that what you're saying?
Oh, of course not. Of course not. However, I don't think it's the kind of thing that has to make people move because it's not executive. So he has no power over the executive. Are
we sure this is Jay in New Jersey? Are we sure? Because you sound an awful lot like Walter in Baltimore.
No, this is not Walter.
Okay. All right. Okay. Thank you for the call, Jay. 800-848-9222. Let's go to Rob in Maryland, line 4. Good morning, Rob. What's on your mind?
Good morning, Dominic. Good to talk to you again. Just quick question. This ruling that they handed down, that what exactly is the children? Is it just the children that are citizens? What happens with the parents? And then is that retroactive? Does that go back?
When you say retroactive, I have no idea what you mean by that.
Well, say if they were, say they were born last year in this country, and they're here illegally still, or 5 years ago.
Well, that's the one thing I always believe in, Rob, is being straight with you folks. So I don't have the answer to that in terms of whether or not it's retroactive based on what you just said. That's a great question. I just know that it includes the children. It does not impact the parents. As far as we know, it's the children. But that it's a 1-2 punch. You take the child, you gotta have somebody to take care of the child, especially if there's not a relative here in America, and then thus the parent makes the case that you need to keep me. Rob, you have the final word before I move on.
That's basically what Roberts and County Barrett did was just basically they betrayed the country. That's what I think. I'm sorry. You can't have all these millions upon millions of illegals coming in here and rewarding them with citizenship. It just disgusts me.
And it is rewarding them. Rob, thank you for the great call. Let's go to Susan, line 1, Corning, New York. Good morning, Susan.
Hi, Dominic, you are correct, and I understand the confusion about these leftists that overthrew the traditional Democrats in this primary, but they were in a primary, both the traditional or incumbent Democrat was on the Democratic line, as well as these new leftists, now we call them DSA. There is no line on the ballot for Democrat Socialists. They are on the Democrats. Let them come into their party.
No, Susan, because you're looking at it short-sighted. So then what happens when they start infiltrating the entire system?
Well,
and they're already at that point.
No, but the Democratic Party allowed them in onto their line, so they get what they deserve. And they're only running in districts where Trump was very low in, his vote total. They're going to get blown out.
Susan, I got to take a break. That's for now where they're running. But what happens in the future? We're going to take a break. We are coming right back.
The Dominic Carter Show
on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Looking for a protein shake that tastes as good as it performs? Meet Rockin' Protein Max. Packed with 50 grams of fuel, it'll help you keep up when your day won't slow down. And because it's always creamy and never chalky, every sip tastes great. Even better, it's lactose-free and has 0 added sugar. It's not every day you find a protein shake you actually want to finish. Catch Rockin' Protein in the dairy cooler at a store near you. Rockin' Protein and Shamrock Farms are registered trademarks of Shamrock Foods Company.
Now, from New York City to the world, it's Dominic Carter.
And we are back. There are plenty of issues we want to deal with this morning, but I just feel the great need to continue with your telephone calls, given the climate of what's going on in the country as far as the socialists and traditional Democrats losing. And I'll just say, we just spoke to Susan from Corning, New York. I'll just say, be careful what you wish for. So right now, it's the Democrats' demise with these socialists. But what's going to be the impact on our political system with these nuts coming into office? 800-848-9222. Let's go to line 1, Robert in Philadelphia. Good morning, Robert. What's on your mind?
Hi, Dominic. As always, it's good to talk to you. And I think the reason why I think that the Democratic Socialists are only going to hurt the Democratic Party is reviewing the election data. And right now, when in 2024, when we had the election, 35% of the voters identified as Republican, 31% identified as Democrat, but 34% identified as registered independent. That's up from 26% in 2020. The independents are going up. Because of the Democrats moving left. They're losing core supporters, I think, because of this. And when these independents, for instance, independents increased by 15 million between 2020 and 2024, 3.2 million of them came from the Republican Party, but 11.7 million of them came from the Democratic Party. And I think they're driving a lot of voters to the independents, and that's not going to help them in fundraising, and that's not going to help them win elections. I think that they say the Republicans were going extreme, which I dispute, but they are definitely going to extremes, and I think they're going to lose a lot of independent voters, and those independent voters are becoming a bigger block because of these Democrats. Do you know what I mean?
I'm listening to you, Robert. You're a reasonable man. I spent the day trying to figure out what's the net gain for Democrats to embrace these socialists. And I don't get it. I know that the end sum game for Democrats is defeat Trump by any means necessary, right? But I don't understand how the Democrat Party, so Pritzker, why would he embrace socialism? I don't, help me out here. I'm not getting it, why Democrats would embrace this.
Because they are afraid to take on a monster that they created. They're going to try to distance themselves from that, but they created these Democratic Socialists through the education system and their constant preaching on the media about democratic principles. Jamie Raskin, Hakeem Jeffries, they're wannabe socialists. The Democrats are coming out now as socialists, something we've seen coming for 20 years. And the old guard, so to speak, have no choice but to embrace them because their ideas got defeated in the last election, and this is the only energy that they have in their party, but it's going to be their own demise. And it's ironic, but I think rather poetic, if you think about it. You know what I mean? To be killed by your own Frankenstein monster. Literally.
Right, and it does appear that that's the case. So when you just answered this question, you said something, a saying that really stuck with me, but I just forgot what it was. Do you remember?
What, just now?
Just now, when I asked you about why Democrats are embracing this.
Because they have no choice, and they're embracing their Frankenstein monster, and it's going to lead to their demise. That's just my opinion, though.
Right. No, I think you're making a lot of sense to me, because I've been trying to wrap my head around this since last night's program. Because I don't see how they gain, because to traditional Democrats, they're going to try and take over their party. As soon as they get the numbers that they want, they're going to try and take over.
Nobody's going to be running out to support Gavin Newsom or Kamala, or they really have nothing else but the energy from these socialists, if you ask me.
Right. And then there was the story a bit earlier today in which Kamala reached out to Mamdani after Mamdani endorsed those 3 endorsements in which he won in each congressional race. So now she's trying to get in bed with him politically, and I just don't see that working. But I just feel like ill, like I want to take a shower. I mean, I don't mean to be offensive to the socialists, but that's how I honestly feel. Robert, thank you as always for the great call. Let's go to line 3. Greg in Morristown, New Jersey. Good morning, Greg. What's going on?
Good morning, Mr. Sternley. How are you today?
Right. Okay. Is there something you want to say, Greg?
Yes, I was listening about the birth citizenship stuff. I was watching a couple things on Instagram where this one particular woman was 47 weeks pregnant. She went from Nigeria to the UK, and the UK doesn't have a birthright citizenship. So what they did was they looked at, they saw that she was 47 weeks pregnant, and they asked her if she disclosed that to the United States, and she said she did not. So they actually denied her from being able to come on the flight, so she couldn't have the baby in America. So I was wondering about your thoughts on that. If UK, who's right now has a huge problem with immigration, doesn't have birthright citizenship, what does that mean for the U.S., being that we do have that type of thing, and how much worse could it be here as compared to the UK?
Well, I think you could answer that question yourself. If you can't get into the UK, and if the Supreme Court has just sided with your position, they're all going to try and get here to America one way or the other. And thank you for the call. It's yet another reason why I feel the way that I do, the strong support for President Trump. You could talk about finances, the money he's made. You can talk about the airplane. The bottom line is the border is secure. Why is the border secure? Because President Trump is no joke, and he's done the exact opposite of what Biden has done. And that brings me to Secretary Mark Wayne Mullen, right? So ICE baby is coming to New York, and it's a wonderful thing. And I want you to listen carefully to the secretary here, because he's stating, because of the opposition, because it's New York, that they're going to be forced to come in big numbers.
Operations in New York City. Can you clarify whether additional ICE personnel or resources have been deployed in New York, and whether New York has been cooperative?
Well, we wouldn't give you our operational procedures if we were going to do it anyways, but either way, every day we're going after the worst of the worst. And because of some of the policies that we see coming out of New York, especially New York City, we are possibly having to flex a little bit more, because we see a lot more criminal activity. People think that it's just the illegals that are here. The illegals, if you come around, it also has cartels that follow. We have serious gang violence that takes place. We've arrested some of the worst of the individuals that's coming out of New York City because they feel like it's a safe haven. And when they come in here, they also bring in tremendous amount of organized crime along the way. And then it spreads out to other cities that may not participate in the same direction that Madami wants to take this city. So we're going after the head of the snake. And if that's in sanctuary cities, we'll go to sanctuary cities to get rid of the worst of the worst. Yes.
And so it's going to be very interesting to see exactly what happens. 800-848-9222. Let's go to Elena, line 2 in New Jersey. Good morning, Elena. What's on your mind?
Good morning, Dominic. I wanted to share a thought about socialism. Socialism is only one spice in the shish kebab barbecue of communism. And we can see that in New York City, because socialism is not the only thing that is projected to the agenda, taking away properties. There's a lot of things in New York City that are going on, and Mondamne is just starting to reveal his plans. But socialism is a catch-all. It's a foolish catch-all, because communism has extended...
Elena, let me ask you this question. I really want to know the answer to this. Why is this relevant? It doesn't matter. What matters is they're selling a con and people are buying it. So why is the history of this important?
Because in our American education system, we have buffooned our generations. And now there are buffoon generations in all parts of the world that are coming into this country, and our buffoon generation opened its borders and said, come on in, and they don't realize that this shish kebab has a lot more to it.
But what I'm trying to say, you're making perfect sense, Elena. But what I'm trying to say is, do you think, okay, let's use the way you described it. It's just one part of the shish kebab, right? And that's a great way to explain it so that people can follow you. Do you think that people that want stuff for free, that they care that there's only one part of the shish kebab? Of course not.
Right now, they're filling their stomachs because they're hungry. So they're getting welfare, they're getting benefits, health benefits, all kinds of things that will favor them. But later on, the shish kebab barbecue is over and it becomes an authoritarian state like all the other countries that they came from. And they're just too foolish. And our American educated people are so narrow-minded that they don't know the history of their country, much less other socialist countries. So we're talking about a bunch of hungry, illegal immigrants and a bunch of American fools. They're not studying their own country. When a candidate says that they wipe their hands in the flag, every country in the world respects their flag, including the communists, including the countries where these people came from. And they voted. Well, how many people voted for this country, for this person? Why didn't everybody else come out to vote? What's wrong in America? We're narrow-minded. Let's have a full belly because the barbecue is good. It's free.
Yeah, the whole thing just turns my stomach, Elena. I appreciate the perspective you just gave. Thank you for the wonderful call. A great way you used to describe it. But, okay, let me be blunt, direct, and to the point what I'm trying to say. The people that are going for this con, they're so lost and so delusional that I don't think anything is going to save them. I don't mean to be that pessimistic, but I really don't think that anything's going to save them at this point. They want free. In their minds, you know, I know a lot of people, a lot. Oh boy. For example, I'm trying not to give away people. You know, one family having 12, 13 children, all raised on welfare, and then all receiving Section 8, all receiving food stamps, and then complaining about the dental services under Medicaid, that it's not as expansive as they would want it to be. And when I reminded the person, you do know that taxpayers are paying for this, it doesn't resonate in their mind. They think that the money is endless. Nick in Virginia, line 3. Good morning, Nick.
Hey,
okay,
Dominic,
Nick, I'm sorry. Okay, Nick, you got to be ready to go, Nick. I'm not going to wait again for you to pick up the phone.
Okay, what we got here is the have-nots outnumbering the haves, okay? The communism grows on poverty, hopelessness, And young people are being drawn to it because they feel that they're never going to, be able to buy a house. They can't even afford their coffee. They're jealous of the wealth of other people. That's why
you're
you have
absolutely correct in everything that you're saying.
Bernie Sanders. Yeah, you got Bernie Sanders and AOC saying, "Oh, the oligarchs," So they're getting young people to feel like somehow they are being screwed by people that are wealthy. That's the way I see it.
No, and you're correct, Nick. Your assessment is 100% dead on accurate. On that note, folks, I've got to take a break. We're taking your telephone calls, 800-848-9222. We are coming right back.
The Dominic Carter Show
on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
This episode is brought to you by Accenture. When your advertising operations fall out of sync, everything else follows. Spotify and Accenture are working together to reinvent the rhythm of ad sales, using automation, analytics, and smarter workflows to simplify campaign delivery and access better data across the business. The result? Less time spent on operations, more time connecting brands with the moments and fandoms that matter most. Learn more at Accenture.com/Spotify.
Hey, I like your new RAV4.
Thanks, yours too.
What does RAV stand for anyway?
To me, it's the Remarkably Advanced Vehicle.
Really? To me, it's the Runway Approved Vehicle for its amazing style.
What about Remarkably Adaptable Vehicle because of its versatile cargo space?
Or Really Admired Vehicle?
Oh, or Really Awesome Vehicle.
It really is the recreational activity vehicle. The stylish 2026 Toyota RAV4 Limited. What's your RAV4?
Now, from New York City to the world, it's Dominic Carter.
And we are back. We see your telephone calls. I want to get to as many as possible. Let's go to line one. Vincent in Brooklyn. Good morning, Vincent.
Good evening, Dominic. In 1906, when my paternal grandmother and grandfather were coming to Ellis Island from Italy, in the U.S. territorial waters, my grandmother broke her water and gave birth on the boat. So when she got to Ellis Island, she already had my Uncle Mike. My father wasn't born yet. I have the ship's manifest. They didn't make my uncle an automatic U.S. citizen, and neither were my grandparents. But especially my uncle, who was born in U.S. waters, was not an American citizen. When my grandmother and grandfather became a citizen, then he became a citizen. But she gave birth in U.S. waters. And if that was today, he would have been a citizen while he was still on the boat.
I hear you. So how do we fix this problem, Vincent?
Well, we passed a law that Harry Reid was going to pass in the 90s, saying that your mother and father have to be lawful U.S. citizens or people who are going through the final stages of being a citizen. That's how we have to fix it. And then when they're citizens, like my grandparents, then you become a citizen. Dominic, in Jamaica, Queens, they're all the old motels that used to be hookah houses and everything there. Those hotels, these people from other countries come, these women, in their 8.5 month of pregnancy, they go to Jamaica Hospital, they give birth on the taxpayer's dime, and then they get citizenship for their kids. That's how much they're gaming this system out here. And the poor people in the community who have to use those services have to wait in line because the ER and everything and the obstetric rooms and everything where they give birth are all full of these people gaming the system, Dominic. All the motels out in Queens.
I hear you, Vincent, and I think we're all familiar with these types of motels. You know, no one should be gaming the system, right? A point that I made on the 3 p.m. show, no one should be gaming the system, conning the system, pimping the system, getting over on the system. But if somebody's going to do it, I mean, shouldn't it be an American if somebody's going to do that?
let it be somebody from the community. I mean, even though that's bad enough, but at least it's one of your own. At least it's not somebody that read on the internet how to come here and take advantage of everything. My friend was showing me literature from the 80s that they published in these third world countries, how to come here and get over. And especially the people in the community who really need these services can't get them now because the other people jumped the line, Dominic.
Right, and it's wrong, Vincent. You know it. I know it. Everybody within the sound of my voice knows that this is wrong. Thank you for the great call, Vincent. Greatly appreciated. Let's go to line 2. Chris in Hicksville, New York. Good morning, Chris.
Hi, Dominic. I love your show. I listen to you all the time.
It's very kind of you to say.
But this is the first time I've actually called in.
Okay.
I want to say this is all the subjects you're talking about are all interconnected, and it is a communist movement. By devaluing the American experience to the citizenship, especially to the youth of America, that opens the gateway to open borders. Because what's the value of being an American citizen? And that opens it up to globalism. And then by turning over the education system to parents who are almost completely unconscious about what the educational process is going on with their children in the public schools and even in the private schools, they're re-educating the children to be communist. And then I saw over the weekend during the Gay Pride Parade over at Madison Park, which intersects with Fifth Avenue, every 20 feet there was a table with easily 4 to 5 apparent volunteers saying, would you like to join the Communist Party or get more information on the Communist Party?
Hey, Chris, I'm completely out of time. You got to do me a favor and call back because your call was wonderful. I agree with everything that you just said. I'm back 3 p.m. Eastern.
Thanks for listening to The Dominic Carter Show. You can hear The Dominic Carter Show weekdays at 3 p.m. and Monday through Thursday at midnight and Sunday starting at 11 p.m. on 77 WABC. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?
The playoffs are here, and you can predict the action all the way to the finals with FanDuel Predicts. Predict the spread, the total points, and even the game-winning moments that make the playoffs. Sign up and get a $25 bonus with FanDuel Predicts.
Offered by FanDuel Prediction Markets, LLC, a registered futures commission merchant. 18-plus bonus is non-withdrawable and expires 7 days after receipt. Trading derivatives involves significant risk and may not be suitable for all investors. Manage your activity with their consumer protection tools. Restrictions apply. See terms at FanDuel.com/predicts/bonus-offer-terms.